Good afternoon, guys. Welcome back to the AJ Analysis channel. Apologies for the slight delay on the intro there. As usual, we had a couple of technical difficulties. But today we are back, we are live, we are talking about Manchester United. And today we are reacting to team news. This is the team news. You've got it on screen here. Manchester United versus Aston Villa. Now, the first thing I would like to do is make something very clear. We do a lot of work trying to predict the lineups in the week. We do talks on tactical previews, etc. All of that good stuff. I don't think in a million years we predicted this lineup for Manchester United. Obviously, the big news, bigger than anything else on the pitch, is the two centre-backs, Johnny Evans and Harry Maguire. Now, we had a debate yesterday talking about, I think we should bring Maguire in. I believe that. Maguire and Evans is surprising. It's very surprising. Ten Hag has spent a lot of money on centre-backs in a game which, is it definitive for his career? I'm not sure. But it's certainly a big game. And he turns to Harry Maguire and Johnny Evans, a player he once froze out. It's an interesting one. Before we actually properly dive into the 11 though, get in the chat and let me know how you guys are doing. Again, I got the chat in a slightly different setup today. Let me know how you're doing. We'll get to the team news in a second. How are your lives? How are you? But also, how are you feeling about this game? Nev, good to see you, mate. How you doing? Ten Hag may have completely lost it. Or he's a genius. It's one of the two. David in the chat with the gifted membership. David, thank you very much, sir. As always. What time is it for you today watching this game? Is this a bit more of a reasonable time for you or no? Matt, good to see you, mate. How you doing? Third consecutive red for Bruno. Let's go. Mate, you called the last one, so if you called this one again, I'm blaming you if he gets sent off. Just want to let you know. Why can't he bench Bruno? He obviously don't fancy it today. I think my immediate response, seeing this start in 11, just the first thing I think, maybe we can look further into it. But I'm seeing two centre-backs who are probably, two of our better defenders in terms of the box, which could imply we're going to play fairly deep. But also that front three. I don't think I've got it wrong, right? I believe it is Hojlund, Rashford, Garnacho, so that's pretty direct. Yeah, I need to quickly check the Villa team as well. I haven't actually seen who's playing in midfield for them, because I know Amadou Onana had an injury doubt. So who is in for Onana? If someone could tell me, that would be greatly appreciated, and we'll get it sorted out so they can have their proper 11. 10 PM, so not too bad? Yeah, it's not too bad like that, is it, I guess? Not too bad. Although, still later than you want, in terms of if you want to win. Yeah, who have they brought in for Onana? If someone could quickly let me know, please, and thank you. Is it Ross Barkley, I'm guessing? And he's number 6, isn't he? Barkley comes into the team. I mean, I actually think, to be honest with you, I think those lineups straight away tell us how this game is going. Something interesting from Villa's point of view is that they've got Matty Cash in the team. Normally they play Konsa at fullback. He's actually a centre-back. I think this 11 to me from Villa, obviously, it's partly forced because of injuries and stuff. But Barkley and Tielemans aren't players that want to do a lot of work off the ball. They don't want to do a lot of work kind of shuffling side to side. I also don't think we have a United team here that is ready to go super aggressive on the press. My instinct is that we are looking at a game where Villa probably dominate the ball. And I wonder if we're looking at a United approach of sitting a little bit deeper and trying to be transitional. Now, in theory, there's nothing wrong with that. I think fans want a slightly different approach, particularly in year 3 of the project. We want something different. But I think this is where we're at. I see a low to mid block from Man United. I can see something similar. Josh with their channel membership. Got the red badge. I love it for you, mate. Thank you very much for the support as always. Hope you're good. I know you're not too optimistic today, but how are you feeling now? Onana had a slight hamstring injury. Yeah, he didn't finish the game in midweek, so it's not a shock. Same for Jacob Ramsey as well. You predicted that back line? Fair play to you, mate, because I did not. He should have played Ugarte, in my opinion. Yeah, that's the weird thing, I guess. If we are talking about an approach where we might be behind the ball a little bit more, we don't actually have a ball-winning midfielder in there. Kobbie Mainoo can do a defensive job, but when we're looking at him probably being the best of our 3 midfielders from a defensive point of view, that would be really concerning for me. That would be a real concern. What is the bench? I haven't actually seen it just yet, so if someone could quickly put it in the chat, that would be great. I wonder if Ten Hag is trying to limit the damage right now. I mean, I don't like to speculate about a manager. There's a chance this is his last game if he doesn't get a result. Do I believe that's the case? To be honest, I think he stays regardless. I don't know why, I've just got that feeling that Ineos will stick with him. But this does feel a little bit like going back to basics. And those basics are getting two defenders who are good in the box, strong and physical. You need that against this Aston Villa side. We spoke about it the other day. So we've got that basic. We've got the basic fundamental of having some speed and pace in attack. We've got a bit of composure in midfield, some players that can pass the ball. I guess we still lack that intensity in midfield that you would want if you're going back to basics a little bit. But generally speaking, it does feel a little bit like that to me. That's how I see it. That defence frightens me. Bobby the Bob. Yeah, me too, mate. Me too. At the same time, it's quite surprising team news, but I'm perhaps not as shocked as you might think. I always thought Maguire was coming in for this game. I thought it was going to be this. I thought it would be De Ligt and Maguire together. Lisandro Martinez wasn't good enough in midweek. Physically, he has struggled a couple of times recently. And Villa are so good at going long to Watkins as a physical outlet. He's unbelievable. We looked at some clips on Friday. Against Bayern in midweek, Villa regularly went long and it was Watkins kind of 1v1 with Upamecano. And Upamecano got absolutely destroyed. Now, he's quite a physical, but also athletic, powerful player. So the fact that he struggled suggested that Lisandro Martinez would also struggle. So I'm not surprised we've brought Maguire in. But the fact that it's Johnny Evans alongside him is the shocking part for me. The bit which has caught me off guard a little bit. By the way, guys, there might be a problem with the stream again today because YouTube is just being a pain in the backside on streams at the moment. So if your stream stops working at all, you just have to close it and then open it again and it will work. I don't know why it keeps doing that. It's an issue with OBS, the latest update. Hopefully we'll get it sorted soon. So I do apologise for that. It's also got my chat in a stupid place. I've got to do it on my phone. So apologies for that, but hopefully it sorts itself out soon. I'll try and have it sorted by next week. If your stream does close or stop working, just close it and open it again, and it should work. Why is Bruno still in the starting 11 if Lisandro Martinez and De Ligt are being dropped? To be honest, I'd imagine Ten Hag sees it as, first of all, you need some intensity in that midfield alongside Eriksen and Kobe. And Bruno typically would bring that. Doesn't always. FC20 the other week, for example. But normally he will bring an intensity. So I think that would be one of the reasons. I think another reason is he's an experienced player. He's a captain. He's always been there when Ten Hag's needed him. Makes sense in that sense as well. But also, if we are looking for, at times, quite a fast transitional game, it's another one of those days where we look at it and go, if Bruno plays well, he's what we need. He is what we need to find the likes of Rashford, to find Rasmus Hojlund, to find Garnacho. Because ultimately, right, if we're going for that front three, creativity's got to come from midfield. Because Hojlund's not particularly creative. Garnacho, he can be, but he's quite a direct player a lot of the time. I think Rashford does have a creative streak, and I think we've seen that this season. But again, he's not a pure creator, by nature, is he? So Bruno in there makes sense, and I guess with that logic, Eriksen does as well. That would be my reasoning, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. Tactical, are we of the membership? Thank you very much, mate. Greatly appreciated. Really appreciate your support. Thank you very much, sir. Does Ten Hag get terminated if they lose? Cheers, AJ. First of all, cheers to you. Guys, love hearts in the chat, so thank you. I don't know. I don't know if he'd get sacked. Again, I don't want to speculate on it too much, because it is a manager's job. I don't think he would. It's just this feeling I've got. I've got a feeling he wouldn't be sacked. I don't know why I think that. I can't say there's a particular logic behind it, apart from it's just what I think. I think he lives. I think he survives. Maybe I'm wrong. David, I will pin that in just 1 second once I can get this stupid thing to work. No, Ugarte. Yeah, a little bit surprising. I think with Ugarte, it's a case of Ten Hag really wants to give him time to settle into the team, get used to the league. He keeps talking about needing to understand the system and understand the dynamic and the role. So I think with Ugarte, it's not that Ten Hag hates him or suddenly doesn't rate him. I think he's just really taking his time bringing him in. We saw something similar with Casemiro when he first came into the club. He took a bit of time. So I think that's all it is with Ugarte. I wouldn't be massively concerned. We know his weaknesses. We spoke about them before he joined the club. I don't think we've learned anything new yet. I think it's just Ten Hag doesn't feel that he's tactically ready, I guess, but perhaps physically as well. By the way, guys, you will now see in the chat, David, the absolute legend, has put the Discord server in the chat, and it is now pinned. Completely free to join. Takes like just one tap, one click, one press. He's going to be active during the game. I'm sure a lot of people will be talking in there. We do other stuff as well. We talk about tactics, transfers, scouting, the academy team, even a bit of gaming and stuff like pro clubs on new FIFA and things like that. So get involved in the Discord. It's good fun. And like I said, it's completely free to join. So check it out. Check it out. Why Eriksen if it's transitional? I get the question. I do understand it. Because he doesn't have the legs to play transitional football. He's not someone who's going to be able to kind of shuttle up and down the pitch all day long. It's not going to suit him at all. But if we are playing deep and transitioning, then he's got the passing range. He's got the passing range. Is there a chance, do you guys reckon, that we do go for that style of football that we want, or that most of us want, which is that slower, more controlled approach? Do you think there is any chance of that with this 11? I think Hojlund and Garnacho perhaps suggest it's unlikely. I think there's an intention which becomes quite clear when you see that front three. Is there a chance we try and get on the ball and keep it and control possession? And if we do try, do we have the ability to do so? Not sure. Not sure. In terms of playing out from the back, losing Lisandro Martinez is a lot. You know, not having him in the team for that play out from the back would suggest that's not the approach, in my opinion. Why did we sign Ugarte? Yeah, with Ugarte, I wouldn't be reacting to it too much just yet. Give it a little bit of time. Give it a couple of weeks. After the international break, after 2 or 3 weeks, if he's still not in the 11, then we can start to look at it a little bit more. I don't know right now. I don't see it as a massive problem. I'd love Bruno to play deeper because he has more grit and stamina, obviously, than Eriksen. So, I believe, unless I'm wrong, this is the midfield that played against Porto. No, it's Casemiro instead of Kobe, wasn't it? But we spoke before the game on Discord about could Bruno play deeper with Eriksen a little bit higher. It's possible, I guess. You know, like you said, Bruno does bring that greater intensity, a bit more grit to his game. I just don't know if I see it happening. But I have to be honest, if these two are a double pivot defensively, if we're in this shape defensively, I've got a real concern. A real concern, just because I think the space outside of our midfielders, you know, there's some real technicians in there for Villa. Tielemans and Barkley are all about the pass and phenomenal passes. That they can dictate a game, really, really run the tempo of a game. You'll look at them physically and be worried about them. But actually, because they're so good technically, a lot of the time they kind of get away with it just because they keep the ball away from you. They're that good in midfield. Morgan Rogers is wonderful on the carry, really aggressive over the first couple of yards, got that bit of power. If we're in this shape, I'm worried. I'm concerned. Obviously, what I've spoken about a couple of times recently is could we change shape off the ball? Could we drop Bruno a little bit deeper into this sort of formation? Again, this isn't an on-the-ball approach. This is purely defensively when we're trying to get men behind the ball. I do wonder if there would be value, again, in going to this shape, just because, logically, right, if you've got two central midfielders, they have to cover a set amount of ground. If you put another one in there, there's less ground per player, right, kind of laterally across the pitch. So I would probably be doing that if I was Erik ten Hag. He might have something different up his sleeve. I don't know. He's quite stubborn, though, isn't he, Eric? He is quite stubborn. So it would probably be this shape still. And I'm just worried. I think what he'll want to do is try and nick the ball in these areas and then hope that, you know, that front four is dangerous. It is. You can't deny that. You can question the balance of profiles, etc., things like that. But ultimately, when it comes to it, if you can get the ball to them, they are always going to be threatening. So I think that's what Ten Hag will be going for, trying to turn the ball over and go and be quick. Adam saying, AJ, I'm scared we might lose this game. Can't watch. Yeah, I'm kind of scared as well, mate. I'm kind of scared, although, you know what? Actually, probably the worst thing is I'm not that scared, just because we're kind of used to losing, or we're used to disappointment. That's probably a big criticism to throw at the club, I guess, but hey ho. Do you wonder if Chaos Football makes a return today? I think it could. I think it could, because Villa are a fantastic transition inside. Again, Ollie Watkins is, for me, one of the best outlets in the Premier League. You can put a ball anywhere near him, and he's going to challenge it. His work rate is incredible. He's quick, but he's also really strong. Really strong. Really good physically. Again, against Licha, I'd have been worried. I think that's probably why we've got Maguire and Evans. But both teams have a threat here with quick football. Villa with their wingers as well. These are players that like to dribble. They like to take people on. They're fairly quick. They want to get at people. We know it's the same from Rashford and Garnacho as well. It's an interesting one. Better hair today. It's not great, to be honest. I've had a lazy morning, so it's not great. Callum in the chat with the gifted membership. Callum, thank you very much, sir. Greatly appreciated. I know you are interested by the starting 11, but I know you also hated our centre-backs in midweek, so you're probably quite happy. Midfield has no physicality. You're going to get run through so easily. That is the concern. That is the big concern. And I think we've got to look at the knock-on effect here. Let's say we went for a high press, which I'm not convinced we will. I should make that clear. Let's say we go for the high press, though. Where's the ball? Over here. And we try and squeeze a little bit higher, but perhaps we leave ourselves a player short like we sometimes do, right? So let's say we're like this, the ball comes this way, Garnacho gets drawn in, the ball gets popped wide to Luka Dean. Let's say we're in that situation. I look at the technical ability of the Villa midfield. Granted, there's not the same power in there that there usually is. With Onana out of the team, they do lose something. But I think the ability to get the ball into Rodgers and the two wingers and to carry not just at our fullbacks, but also actually at our central midfielders in these areas as well, particularly in the case of Rodgers. And then we're looking at the centre-backs. I think they're good centre-backs. Actually, I like the pair of them. I think they've all done pretty well. Maguire in particular, massive fan of him. But when you've got proper dribbly little players running at them, with this threat kind of taking their attention in behind as well, I'm concerned. Caps are for bad hair days. Very true. Yeah, I don't know where my cap is today. I'll be honest, I've misplaced it. There's a few over there, but yeah, not sure. We literally don't have the physicality to play a high press. I would agree. I would agree. I don't know if Ten Hag will. We'll have to wait and see, right? He tends to do some interesting things. He likes to throw up a little surprise here and there, which, fair play to him, I guess. I think we'll be behind the ball. I think we'll be quite transitional. Again, I should say there's nothing wrong with that. That is acceptable as a brand of football. It can get results. It can be effective. I'm not sure. I would be lying if I said I was massively positive about today. It will be a self-sabotage if we press with this backline. Yeah, I would tend to agree. I haven't actually seen our bench yet, so let me just quickly have a look. Who we got on the bench? In terms of who can make a difference? Well, straight away we've got De Ligt, Lindelof and Lisandro Martinez. So that just shouts at us. This is not an injury problem. There is no injury crisis here. This is Ten Hag changing the team. I wonder if he'll label it as rotation. I'm not sure. He might label it as rotation. But I would suggest it's tactical, plus just players being dropped for poor form. We've then got Ugarte, Casemiro on the bench, Anthony, Ahmad and Xerxes. So still no Mount. In terms of that midfield impact, Ugarte, Casemiro, if we're needing a goal, we don't get too much. What's also interesting though, if we look at the bench, Xerxes, Ahmad, Anthony. In terms of the forwards coming on, typically what you might do as a team is, as a game gets stretched, is kind of bring on quite a quick direct player from the bench. We've got something interesting going on here where actually we're starting our direct players, and actually the bench, we don't really have a direct option to bring on. Obviously these guys are all a massive goal threat still, don't get me wrong. But it's interesting that, like I said, normally as a game gets stretched, spaces open up a little bit, players fatigue. That's when you bring on your fresh, direct, quick running players. We don't really have that from the bench today. And you could arguably see a more controlled game past the 60th minute once we've made a few substitutes, which would be interesting, particularly if Villa are ahead as well. There's a chance that they would then kind of drop behind the ball. We would see these controlling United players come on. That's actually almost where we could grow into the game a little bit more, which is a little bit odd, but it could be the case. I could see it. In terms of for Villa, who we got on their bench? How strong are they? John Duran is the big one, isn't he? He's the big one you got to look out for. And he seems quite inevitable at the moment when he comes on. Quality player. So, yeah, again, it's something we've got to be worried about. Absolutely. I can't believe after all we did in the off-season, we are back to last year's lineup, aside from our right-back. Yeah, it's fair. I mean, it was probably Casemiro more than Eriksen last season, wasn't it? But, yeah, it doesn't look great, does it? Why is it that we never consider managers making changes according to what they see on the training pitch, and not just to previous games? Yeah, I think it's a completely valid point. It's difficult for us to talk about, I guess, because we don't see the training, whereas we do see the matches, so we can comment on that. I think if we're talking about Lisandro Martinez and De Ligt in this case, I would argue you don't even have to look at training. the last match wasn't good enough from either of them. But what Eric really needs to understand, and I'm sure he does, right? He's a top manager. I'm sure he understands this. It wasn't just the centre backs. If your issue with your performance is that your centre backs struggle with the box defence, and that's why you concede 3 goals, you've got to look at what's in front of them, the rest of the team, not just in terms of personnel, but tactically. If your centre backs are making mistakes in the box, it's annoying. It happens, right? You've got to look at why is it getting there so regularly, though. I don't know if any of you guys went back and watched the Porto game again. I recommended it. The first 30 minutes, we saw so many crosses coming into the box from this side. So many crosses coming into the box. And that's the other interesting thing I want to talk about with Garnacho and Rashford. Rashford came off at half-time the other day, and Eric was making the point that it was because he struggled a little bit defensively. He did make a comment on that. But then he starts him straight away next game. You know, like in hindsight, looking back, you should have just kept Rashford on in midweek, because we at least would have had attack and threat. But I guess that's the past. It's a weird one. Villa aren't very tight as well. They leak goals regularly, and we need to take advantage of the opportunity that comes by. Completely agree. Villa, under Unai Emery, have been unbelievably good. You see the difference of just a manager getting the best out of his players. Gerrard didn't do it. Emery is. He's got them playing great football. Really good to watch. And defensively, incredibly strong. If I have one criticism of them defensively, it's that for me, they dropped too deep too soon. We were speaking about it on Friday in the stream, that the right winger will often drop back almost into a right wing back sort of system. But it goes further than that. You can see the other winger dropping back at times as well. You can see midfielders dropping into these positions as well. And they just leave space on the edge of the penalty area. And something I said in the stream was, Bruno, question mark, from range, something to look at. But I also think Christian Eriksen. Do you hear that voice crack there, by the way? Just completely died. These two from range, in terms of shooting, perhaps not this far out, this is the halfway line. But these two from range with a bit of time on the edge of the box, I think look out for that in this game. I think the same for Rashford if he can come inside as well. We know that he's a brilliant ball striker. Look out for that. But the other thing also, for me, is Eriksen and Bruno getting crafty around the penalty area. If we can get this high, which, you know, the rest of the team has to do a job to get us this far. But if we can get this high, Villa do drop off. And we do have 2 players there, and this kind of could back the team selection. We do have 2 players there who could perhaps find something into the box. We've got some goal scorers on the pitch today, hopefully, so we'll see. Remember when we used to play midfielders and midfielders? The good old days. The good old days. Guys, David is in the chat saying, like for good luck, guys. Let's hit it. I mean, I can't guarantee it's going to give United good luck, but I tell you, it is well worth a try, right? Imagine we don't win today and you didn't like. It could be your fault. Whereas at least if you like the stream, you've done your part, right? That's kind of how I see it. It makes sense. It also just really helps the channel. So if you could please leave a like. It would be greatly appreciated. It really helps the channel, pushes the stream to other people. We can upgrade, we can keep improving. So if you could please do that, it would be greatly appreciated. Stream like. Thank you very much, Akash. Love it, mate. Love it from you. Anyway, back to talking about United. And I've just kind of seen a concern as I've pushed all the United players forward here, right? I've pushed these United players into an attacking position. Can we overload? Can we create in the final third? I'm now thinking back to how we've set up in recent weeks. We've seen Dalot regularly inverting into these areas. And I've just had the thought of, sorry, Johnny, mate, I love you. Johnny Evans defending a transition out wide. It's not ideal. It's not ideal. It's not a great situation for us to be in. Yeah. Wonder if we might do something different structurally, because that to me doesn't scream success in the transition. Maybe we do something a little bit different. Maybe Dalot plays a little bit wider. We leave ourselves lighter in midfield, possibly. Or Eriksen drops in and we do something like that. I would be concerned with leaving our centre-backs isolated with Watkins or the wingers. I think that's a problem. I don't think Dalot will be able to invert, as it would leave Evans exposed. Yeah, that's potentially the problem. But it's always been the problem. It's the problem when Lisandro Martinez plays as well. He also struggles wide, but we've taken the risk in those games. Could we do it again? I'm not sure. Ten Hag gets sacked if we lose. Yeah, I'm kind of sitting here looking ahead to the international break, right, which comes after today. I can't figure out if I'm going to have the most unbelievably busy international break ever, looking at so many different managers and the work that have done at different clubs to kind of figure it out, or whether Ten Hag's going to stay and we're going to have very little to talk about. It's weird, really weird. I don't know what way this is going to go. I'll be honest. I've got a feeling this is one of those games where we're going to sit deep. We're going to sit quite deep around our box for a large part. Almost like a damage limitation, playing it safe sort of approach to the game. I've got a feeling we sneak a result here, and that might be pure delusion, and if it is, let it keep going through my veins, I love it. I've got a feeling United are going to get something here. I think it's going to be one of those games where your back's to the wall, your manager needs you. So we're just going to kind of get players behind the ball, and in transition, it could just be that day where we click. That's kind of the feeling I'm getting. I could be completely off with that, by the way. I am by no means guaranteeing it. It's just a feeling I'm getting. Prepare the manager videos. Yeah, I've got a lot of research to do, mate. A lot. We will sit very deep today. But on the in possession, I have no idea what they will do. Do you mean Villa or United? In the case of Villa, it's interesting because, like I said, normally they would play a fullback. A centre-back at fullback. Normally Ezri Konsa plays on the right, and he gets forward occasionally, but is also quite happy to tuck. I wonder if Matty Cash is in the team to expose, once again, our left-hand side. I've had a lot of problems with our left-hand side. The combination of profiles, Eriksen and Rashford, same side, intensity, physicality, it's an issue, it's a concern for me. A few teams have exploited this. We saw Porto do it, we saw Spurs do it. Southampton done it, I believe, in the first 30 minutes. And I'm sure there was someone else as well. Was it Brighton, maybe? There was specifically another team that really targeted this side of the pitch. That could be why they've gone for Cash. Because I believe Diego Carlos is fit, the guy who normally plays centre-back for him. So I think this is tactical from memory. I think that might be Villa looking at a weakness. Another team exposing that weakness, which would be a worry. I'm enjoying the live stream, AJ. Watching from Sierra Leone. Thank you very much, mate. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Thank you very much for joining. If you're new around here, if you could subscribe, it would be great. It would be great. But thank you very much for joining the stream anyway. It's great to have you here. How are you feeling about the game? How are you feeling? I predict we score late on to win. I think we're going to score like 60th minute, 1-0 win, I've decided. Actually, no, we're going to win 2-1. I believe in that dream. Kinda. Bayern pressed Villa. This is going to be completely different. Very different game to what Villa faced in midweek. Bayern were unbelievably aggressive. For me, too aggressive. We looked at the clips on Friday. There were spells where they were literally man-to-man. Man-to-man against an outlet like Watkins is bold. We'll put it like that. It's dangerous. Borderline daft, right? Because you leave yourself exposed at the back. You can easily get beat in those areas. So I don't think United will take that approach with this back four. I just don't see Evans and Maguire playing a man-to-man system today. I don't think it will happen. I think it will be deeper. I don't think we'll be pressing high at all. I would imagine we let kind of Villa play through that first phase fairly comfortably. And I think we'll then sort of get set in our position here. But this is where I'm worried. This is where I'm worried because I don't like United in this shape at all. Apparently today's team is because of rotation. I haven't actually seen any of Ten Hag's words yet. If anyone's got any quotes, that'd be great. That worries me though. If it's because of rotation, sorry, Eric, man, I don't want to get on your back too much here. I don't know that Aston Villa away from home is the game you rotate your defence. No, not for me. I'm not changing both centre-backs for rotation reasons away at Villa. Not personally. I said earlier in the stream, I think he'll label it as rotation, even though I would imagine it's tactical. But he almost doesn't want to admit that the centre-backs have played poorly. He's almost protecting them a little bit. So he might say rotational. I don't think it is. I think he said that to protect the players, which is probably the right thing to do. Yeah. You know what, Eric? I'm sorry. As long as you're lying, I'm okay with it. Just abandon the man-to-man press now. We don't have that kind of personnel in each and every position. Agreed. AJ, from 1 to 10, how cooked are we? Nuruddin, my friend, it's a good question. First of all, how are you, mate? How cooked are we? I've got this delusional feeling that we win. I've got this feeling that we win, I can't lie. I think we should be cooked. On paper, we should be cooked. I've got a feeling we do something. I think it's because he doesn't want to say they're awful. Yeah, exactly. He's trying to protect him a little bit, which is the right thing to do. I think they've been dropped, personally. Again, not necessarily just for being bad, also just profile against Ollie Watkins, Maguire, or Lisandro Martinez. It's not too tricky, right? What do you mean by not having the personnel, apart from Rashford, who is bad at pressing? Realistically, Christian Eriksen's bad at pressing only in the sense that physically he really struggles man-to-man. You could maybe kind of put him with Barkley, but Barkley's so deceptive with the way that he plays. I think Eriksen would have troubles. I think Cobby man-to-man with Rodgers, if that's where he was to end up. Perhaps he wouldn't. Perhaps it would be Tielemans. I put it like that, actually. Let's put it quite plainly. I don't know if we've got the player that can go man-to-man with Rodgers. And that's concerning to say, because Rodgers is great. He's had a really good start to the season. I love his profile, strong ball carrier. Love it. You need it in your midfield. I love it. But he's not like a world beater, is he? So the fact that we sit here saying we haven't got anyone to stop Rodgers, again, no disrespect to Rodgers, he's great. But that would be concerning. That would be concerning. This had Rashford Masterclass written all over it, and then Nuruddin said we already got the Rashford Masterclass and he got dropped at half-time. Yeah. Ten Hag quote, thank you very much, Snicky. Very kind, sir. Rotation, we have so many games to cover, so we have to bring them all in. You look at the opponent and then you make a choice. There is always pressure. Yeah, so I think he's kind of hinted at it there, saying you look at the opponent and you make a choice. Centre-backs is where I'm looking. Again, I'm surprised it's De Ligt out, just because physically he is good. I thought it would be Maguire and De Ligt. I'm not surprised at Lisandro Martinez being dropped at all. If we lose this match badly and Ten Hag is still in charge next week, I am sticking with him. I just want to see where this madness is going to take us. If Ineos allows it, I will go with it. That's my response as well. I have my thoughts on the managerial situation, what I would like and not like. But if he stays at the club, we get behind him and we back him. That's my opinion. Rodgers isn't a world beater, but I take him in a team in a heartbeat. Yeah, like I said, it's one of those things where he's obviously a good player, but when we are absolutely terrified of him, I think we've got a problem. Predicting a hard graft for Hojlund today. Yeah, I like having him in the team. I think he's got his flaws. But I actually thought the first half the other night he done really well. I thought it was like a sort of physical outlet. He was working hard. He won a couple of his kind of 50-50 long balls as well. Pau Torres is a great centre-back. But I don't actually know if physically, shoulder to shoulder, he always wants the contact. And I think that's why Konsa could be centre-back as well, to deal with Hojlund. Because Konsa's a bit more physical than Diego Carlos. So I think Villa are aware of the Hojlund threat. Licher and De Ligt both deserves to be dropped. Yeah, it's just always crazy when you change both centre-backs. That's just mental to me. But players do look slower and weaker than what they can do, and almost all who have played. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. He's goal-starved. Could be a good thing. Yeah, he wants his goals, doesn't he? It's literally the last game before the break. I don't understand why you need to rotate against one of the most in-form teams. Yeah. Like I said, I think he's saying we're rotating to protect the two that have been dropped. Right, to go, I'm not going to throw them under the bus and go, you're terrible. I'm going to say we rotated for tactical reasons. You know, it's nicer to say that. It's protecting your players rather than going, yeah, the centre-backs were shit in midweek. So, isn't Bruno on a red card? So he was sent off in the Premier League, which meant he should miss this game, but then that red card got overturned. The second red card he got is only applicable in Europe, so he's fine to play in the Premier League. We have him in the Prem. Personally, I think Xerxes would work better with Rashford and Garnacho both starting, but I love Hojlund, so I'm not complaining. Yeah, typically I would agree. Having that sort of linking profile who can bring others into the game and make a bit of space for other people probably makes more sense. But if we kind of cast our minds back to last season, I think it was Boxing Day, weren't it? We were 2-0 down, and we end up with this front three on the pitch, and it hurt Villa. Will Emery have learnt his lessons of like playing that aggressive high line against this front three? Don't know, but I have to wait and see. But this front three have hurt Villa before, and they could do it again. Mainu is not holding midfielder. I completely agree, but I think he'll be close to that position today. He's depending on speed up front, but we have tortoises in defence. Should have started Casemiro with Eriksen. I get it in the sense that if we're playing deep, he gives you that physical player, and he gives you that just naturally maybe better defensive ability. I think mobility would be a real problem. I don't think Kobbie's that mobile by any means either, but I think he's more mobile than Casemiro. I think, if we done this, and we leave those... Again, it depends on the structure, right? It depends on the structure. Casemiro and Eriksen could work. Kobbie Mainoo and Eriksen could work. I think if you leave the two of them with this space out wide again, like we've done quite a lot this season, I think, to be honest, they'll get quite hurt. I think if we can rotate a little bit and get the extra body in, I think we've got the position to win the ball here. And then in Eriksen and Bruno, we've got two players who can really find that transitional pass. If we can overturn the ball in here with that extra body, then find these guys, we could be onto something there. That's where we could have a bit of cash money. You have Maguire, Eriksen starting. Mobility has been thrown out the window. Yeah, that's also fair. Evans as well. Yep. That midfield will get lost in 10 minutes. I'm worried about it. I am worried about it. I'm trying to look at the positives for you guys as well, because let's not go into this with all doom and gloom, right? Let's have a little bit of hope. I know it's the hope that kills you eventually, but if you don't get hope in the first place, what's the point of football, right? We've got to try and find the positives. Transitionally, we have a big threat, especially with Cash and Dean. I think they might go forward. I think that's why Cash is in the team, to attack us a bit more. That will leave space, and we have players who can find that space. We have some big moments players here as well. Bruno can give us moments. Garnacho gives you moments. Rashford does as well. Game breakers. Might be what we're looking for. Could we see Mainoo and Bruno deeper? Yeah, I definitely think we could. I think it's possible. But the fact that it didn't happen midweek with Bruno deeper next to Casemiro with Eriksen higher, the fact that we didn't see it in that game makes me think we won't see it in this game. AJ, how would this team realistically perform in pro clubs? I reckon the attack would cook on clubs, the midfield would get destroyed. I think Ten Hag is gone in the international break. Let's quickly, briefly cover that conversation, the Ten Hag situation. If he is to be sacked after, let's say something goes wrong today and he gets sacked, when do you think it would actually happen? Would it be like 9 a.m. tomorrow, we wake up, he's gone? Or do you think it'd be like Thursday it randomly happens? Because I'm not really sure. Pardon me, I'm not really sure. I wouldn't mind seeing Kobbie higher up than Bruno this game. Again, you get that passing ability deep, don't you? I just worry about these two. It depends how much we try and like play out from the back and things at times. Because these two kind of under pressure would concern me a little bit. Kobbie's got that bit of drive in the middle at times, though. Tuesday after the meeting? Yeah, possibly. What's your plan on sacking him? After sacking him? My plan, personally, I don't have a plan. I have no idea what's going on. I'm so clueless, to be honest, as to is Ten Hag staying? Is he going? No idea. If he was to be sacked, I would do videos looking at other managers that could come in. Apart from that, no idea. I don't know who Ineos would want. I don't know who United would want. I'm not convinced Ineos will sack him. I don't think they will. I think he'll survive, personally. I think he'll stay. Again, I don't really know. I don't know why I think it, but I think he'll stay. AJ, you are really a Man United fan. You don't give negative feedback about our team. I don't think I'm quite picking up what you're putting down with that message. I apologise. Kidnap Nagelsmann. Yeah, maybe. Club sesh tonight, AJ? I can't because I'll have to be covering the game. That's the plan for this game tonight, by the way. We kick off in half an hour. We'll watch it. I'll watch it back again. Then analyse, edit, upload. And then probably tomorrow morning at like 11 a.m. we'll be live again with more reaction. I would think. For me, Kobbie higher up could give us a way to turn a failed counter into retained possession high up the pitch, with his ability to both escape a press and calmly pick out a teammate. Yeah, I think that's a fair point. I think when Bruno receives with a bit of space and he looks up and he sees all these runners, which he's going to have today, he can play the ones that aren't on, the passes that aren't really an option. Whereas, like you said, with Kobbie, he perhaps would slow it down a little bit, because I actually think often Mainoo doesn't believe in his ability to find the overly progressive pass. So I think at times he does turn down those opportunities, which would slow us down a little bit. I guess it depends on Eric's approach. If he really wants us to be quick and attacking, he probably wouldn't do it. If he wants us to try and get a foothold in the game and slow it down, then yeah, I do see the logic. Tonight's video, how Maguire fixed us. You heard it here first. Maguire's going to fix our goal scoring problems, I reckon. Yeah, I've just been called Manu, and honestly, I'm banning Kieran. He's never seen the light of day again. He shall be removed. Can weirdly see a Maguire and Evans masterclass? Yes, we're on the same page, mate, because I do as well. I also think that will happen. Ten Hag should have tried Mazraoui left back. I've seen quite a lot of people saying that, and don't take this the wrong way. I don't know how much you gain from doing it, just because I think Dallow's doing fine at left back. Like, he could have swapped it, but I don't know that you would have seen too much different. I think Dallow's doing well at left back, Mazraoui's doing it right back. I think if you swapped them, they would both do well in their new position. I don't know that you unlock something suddenly. I think they can both play deep on the left. I think they can both play deep on the right. I think they can both invert. Mazraoui would maybe give us more going forward from the left-hand side, perhaps. Maybe he'd give Rashford a bit more support because he's a little bit more two-footed than Dallow. But I don't know that you gain too much for it to be like a massive talking point. Can ban me, but you can't ban the vision. True, it lives on. Maguire and De Ligt would be scary from set pieces. Ooh, we haven't even touched on set pieces yet. Set pieces. Watch them in this game. Watch them in this game. In terms of, from our point of view, the players that we've got, not having De Ligt is a loss because he's been really good on set pieces recently. He's often been the first contact in the opposition box, which is really good. We've got Maguire coming in though, and we know his threat. We saw it in midweek. Villa are unbelievably good at set pieces. They are so creative. They are so clever. But they're not quite as physical as normal. Again, they've got a fullback at fullback rather than a centre-back. So normally, I haven't got him on screen anymore. Normally it'd be Diego Carlos. So that's an extra centre-back. Cash is not the same aerial presence. And then Ross Barkley, I'd have to tell you this, isn't the same aerially as Amadou Onana. So they have lost something in terms of physicality in this team. Even Jacob Ramsey, bigger than the two wingers they've got in the team now. So they have lost something, but they're normally clever with their set pieces, so they will still be a massive threat. A massive threat. Which manager do you want in United? For today, I want Ten Hag. If Ineos keep Ten Hag after that, I want Ten Hag. If Ineos move on, we'll figure that out and we'll have that conversation. I don't want to discuss other managers whilst Eric's still here. Not for now. Not for now. Hello, AJ, big fan. Thank you very much, mate. If Inzaghi and Amorim are both available, who do you think we should go for? Again, I don't want to discuss managers. I think Inzaghi has apparently already turned the job down, but I don't know if I believe that, to be honest. Villa are good in attacking set pieces. Yeah, they're phenomenal. But I feel last season they conceded a few. I couldn't actually tell you statistically what they conceded last season from set pieces. Again, I think we've been slightly improved in recent weeks, but De Ligt has been a big part of that. Can we find Maguire in the same way? Hopefully. We've got some physicality. Hojlund's a big lad, even though he's not great in the air, he's a big lad. Rashford's always there or thereabouts in the box. It's probably got to be about kind of working some sort of run, some sort of block to get Maguire free. That's probably got to be the plan on set pieces for us in an attacking sense. We've got a couple of players that can deliver them in these two. I think we need more consistency from Bruno in particular on those deliveries. Not sure if we'll get it or not. AJ, do you believe the Glazers are putting the players to perform badly so the team can look terrible regardless of the manager? Lol, just a conspiracy. I can't understand the inconsistencies. It's a conspiracy, I'll give you that much. I think it's quite unlikely that it is what is happening at the club, but I agree. I also don't understand the inconsistencies. Why? Tactically, I kind of get it, just because I think that's where we are at the moment. Individually, I don't get the inconsistencies. Some weeks we look really technical and great in tight spaces, and other weeks we look like we can't do it. So I agree there. I don't understand the inconsistencies. Ahmad for set pieces would have been nice. Yeah, it's always nice to have the left-footed option as well. So the fact that we don't have that is a little bit annoying. But would Rasmus and Xerxes work playing together? I certainly think they could. I would like to see it tried at some point, but I'm not expecting it anytime soon, to be honest. Anyway, I think what we I think what we need to do is finish with score predictions and then get set up ready to watch the game. So get some score predictions in the chat. Who's scoring? When are they scoring? How many goals are we winning by? Because we're winning, right, guys? Right? I've changed my mind. I think I'm going for 2-1. Am I allowed to say Rashford or not? If you're new around here, I went a couple of weeks of saying Rashford definitely won't score, and he started scoring. So I might say Rashford definitely won't score. But we're going for that one again, all right? We'll try it. 6-1 Villa. Nuruddin, yeah, band. You like the reverse Chad. I like it. Hojlund scores, we win 4-0. That would be the most out of nowhere result. And I'm here for it. I'm ready for it. Spicy 1-0 United, yes please. 3-1. Oh, 3-0 Villa. 2-1 Villa. 2-1 United, like it. 5-0 Villa. 2-0 Villa. Josh. I love how just real Josh is. Josh does not hide it. He doesn't get caught up in delusion of, but we might do something. Very straight to the point. 4-0 Villa. A hat-trick from Watkins and a goal from Duran. Callum says Hojlund, Rashford and Johnny Evans score. Onana penalty save. 3-0 dub. Might put a bet on that. David with a donation. Thank you very much, sir. Very kind. Rashford, Hojlund and Maguire in a 3-2 W. Tell you what, that would have me feeling good. That would. Yes, please. Thank you very much for the donation as well. Guys, you know what to do. Chat, green. Make it happen. Love hearts in the chat. W's, flames, whatever. Say thank you to David for the donation. And a gifted membership earlier. 7-0. Is that to United? Or score prediction 3-1 for Villa. Probably the set pieces could score 1. But I doubt that would be enough to stop Villa destroying us at Villa Park. Yeah, they'll come into this game with a bit of momentum and confidence as well, won't they? For sure. Winning with this lineup, I lack the hope. Fair. Hojlund fresh out of injury. Bruno and Dalot on a horrible run of games. Eriksen paired with Bruno when we're playing an even worse centre-back pair. Yeah. I understand why people are pessimistic. I said I've got this weird feeling that we kind of nick it 1-0, 2-1, that sort of thing. Matt agreeing. Oh no, he's not. I thought I said 1-0 United. It says 1-0 Villa. Damn it. Bet your money, lads. I've done it once and today is the second time. This is not financial advice. Where are the plans with Ugarte? I think that's a case of time. Just give him time. Let him adapt, settle. I think that's what Ten Hag's going for. Let him understand the system. It's annoying, but yeah. I just see an undeserved 3-1 win out. I'm here for it. Broke man's green. Yeah, I love it, mate. It's still green nonetheless, and that's what's important. 4-all. We either win by a lot or we get destroyed. No in between. I'm hearing goals. So I'll see you later for a 0-0. Can't wait for it. Anyway, I think we are just about finished there. I just have a feeling that Maguire is going to thump one from 25 yards and score. I would lose my shit if Maguire done that. What a boy. What a boy. We just need to be patient. Anyway, yeah, I think we're going to finish the stream there. Thank you very much, guys, for joining. We've had roughly 400 people in here most of the time, which is pretty cool. Especially considering that I think United are in a bad place at the moment and people are quite negative about the club. So thank you guys very much for joining. Even when it's not going great for the club, the support is still there. So I really appreciate that. Thanks to everyone who's kind of sat there quietly. Everyone who's been in the chat active. How many likes have we got today? Can we get the likes up real quick before we stop? I mean, we're on 130, so I can't really complain. But if we could bump those numbers a little bit, that would be great. Thank you for the gifted memberships, the renewal of memberships as always. Anyone that's joined the Discord, and if you haven't, go check it out. Subscriptions, all of that stuff. Thank you guys very, very much. Like and subscribe before you leave, please. But yeah, hopefully the boys give us a result and a performance, and at least we have a slightly enjoyable afternoon. Regardless of the result, whatever it is, I will be uploading tonight, analysing the game. And then tomorrow morning, we should be live reacting to it. Kind of giving our final thoughts on the game before then moving on. So that's the plan. We'll see what happens. Hopefully we get a result and we get a performance. I think it might happen. I think United nick it 2-1. That's what I reckon. But thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the stream. I think this is the button to end it.